Welcome back to another episode of Positively Uncensored, your favorite reality TV and interview podcast. I wish I had more energy for you all today, but we are coming for an impromptu episode because there is a subject that we really need to talk about. In case you have missed it, let me start off this episode with a trigger warning. Trigger warning for racism. Please protect yourself, your mental peace. If you need to opt out of the conversation, but you'd like to come back at a later time, please feel free to do that. This has been a draining season of Love Island already, and it's carried into now, and it's really no surprise. I don't think any of us are surprised that the racism that this season started off with has spilled into the after season because it has quite literally not been called out or stopped the entire time. In case you don't know what I'm talking about, Huda and Louis were on live. Is it Louis? Louis? Don't even know. They were on live together the other day doing a stream on his account, and they got a call from a number that continued to call them. They picked up. It was a call from a fan who had a message for them, which included saying a racist slur in the same sentence with Olandria. I am not going to play this because it's harmful. I found it appalling to listen to the first time, but I am going to bring it up on the screen so that you're aware of what I'm talking about. In this, the callers called, whether it's an adult acting like they're a child or whether it's a child, because a lot of Huda's fans are children. They proceed to say that Olandria is and then they say the N word. And Huda and Louis laugh in response to hearing this. I'm not going to play the comment, but just in case you are not going to go find the video or you haven't seen it, I am going to play them laughing so that there is really well proof in the pudding.
Whoa, hey.
Yo, I turned that shit off.
Mind you, it's Louis, whatever his name is, who's the one who's kind of chastising the caller after the two of them have laughed at this. Now, following this, they have rightfully been called out and criticized for entertaining the racism, for excusing it, and Huda took to social media to share several stories. I did a full recap of this on my TikTok if you're not following me on TikTok, but I am going to bring them up for you as well here. The first story that Huda shared to her Instagram was 16 hours ago and said, y'all, first of all, clickbait using a sensitive topic is actually insane. Me and Lewis did not hear what was said in that no caller ID call on live, only the racial slur, which we hung up immediately. First of all, referring to the rightful outrage from people calling out the fact that they laughed at this racist slur being said, and in context to being said specifically about Olandria, isn't clickbait. This is coming from your stream, your boyfriend's stream, your live stream that you guys do to get people talking. And this is what you said. Like, this is what you allowed to happen on your live. She continues to say, I don't condone anything of the sort. Whoever called purposely, continuously called while we were live. I really don't condone racism, which is why it was immediately hung up. Once again, we did not hear it very well, considering it sounded like a child. Only the last slur. That slur should never make you laugh. No context of this is funny. I just wanted to address this before it blows out of proportion. Her posting this with this photograph where she is looking annoyed and ticked off that she has to make a statement when she should want to make a statement. She should want to make a statement to correct herself if it was misinterpreted. I say it that way because it wasn't. You would think that she would want to correct things, but the reality is she thought it was funny. She thought it was funny. She laughed. She doesn't think that she should have to make an apology or take any sort of accountability. And that's why she has that stank look on her face because she now has to post about it and doesn't think that she should have to. The next story, which was posted an hour later, says also laughter was because it was awkward. Like, who the heck says something offensive like that on a call on his live? And as you can hear me say, what did they say? And they said a bad word, because that's all I heard was the bad word. The changing of phrasing from this going to a racial slur to a bad word. This isn't a bad word. That's racist. Don't say that. It's derogatory. It's degrading. It, like Olandria says, carries generations of harm, intentionally so. There's nothing funny. She continues to say, they said a bad word because that's all I heard was the bad word. It was awkward and inappropriate. Whoever said it is in the wrong. At the end of this statement, she is trying to separate herself from accountability that needs to be taken. I'm not wrong. The person who called us is wrong. Both of you are wrong. Your fans think it's okay to call you and say these things because you have set that precedent. You laughed. So if this is a kid, you have totally sent them the message that this is funny. Saying I don't condone something and that being it isn't enough for this situation. Before we read Alandria's statement, I want to touch on something that Jessie Wu said, which is that day 1 or day 2, when Alandria simply said to Huda, we're not doing that right now, and Huda chose to cry and turn on these white woman tears, these Karen tears in response to Alandria simply responding to her. That was the moment at the early part of the season, in combination with her calling Jeremiah brother, that and other microaggressions that she had towards the cast members. That in combination is what drew her, the audience that agrees with her, shares those sentiments, acts those same way, is also racist. Like, that was really the calling card. That was the dog whistle. That was the invitation. Come here, support me. So this whole I don't condone racism, a lot of your fan base is built off of the racism that you permeated on the season. And for that reason, you won't strongly address it because, number one, you continue to permeate that yourself. You don't disagree with it or see anything wrong with it. But yeah, like, you built your fan base on this to call them out directly for being racist and saying, if you support me and you say a racial slur or you say something racist to Alandria, to Shelly, to any Black woman to degrade her, then you are not a fan of mine. To never make those comments, you're not being direct, because it would hurt your pocketbooks, because you acknowledge that that's where your fan base is coming from. It's the same way I feel about Taylor Swift and her refusal to address her ensemble of white women who would never want to hear her say that she calls them out for something. Mind you, she probably agrees. Back to Alandria, okay? This all relates, but I just want to keep things. This is Alandria's statement. Alandria says, I do not condone racism of any kind, nor do I entertain it. That kind of language is never acceptable, not in anger, not as a joke, not ever. Actually, I'm sorry, I do have one more thing to say. At the reunion, we heard about the exchange where Huda received a text or a call, spoke with face to face Shelly and Alandria, asking her to make a statement addressing the racism, telling her directly. They have photoshopped a picture of George Floyd and Alandria's face, and you are in this photo. Address that. And she never did. So this isn't something new. You haven't nipped it in the bud. You haven't stopped it. Alandria says, not in anger, not as a joke, not ever. Words like that carry generations of pain, and pretending otherwise only keeps the cycle going. Defending it, laughing about it, or making excuses is even worse. I will not let this moment derail my purpose of uplifting my community. I'm standing firm in who I am and using this as an opportunity to call for real accountability and awareness. We all have a role in building a culture where speaking to one another with respect is the standard, and where speaking against hate speech is the bare minimum. While I anticipate this will result in surface level apologies that fade in a few days, I'd like to transform this moment into something actionable. I encourage those who have participated in the stream and their followers to demonstrate a genuine commitment to anti racism by donating to organizations and foundations dedicated to educating and uplifting this community, such as UNCF, NAACP, and or the Thurgood Marshall College Fund. I will be making a personal donation as well. In the next slide, I'll be sharing donation links to contribute in support of HBCUs and underfunded educational resources for Black students. The phrase class act has been used a lot to describe Olandria in this situation because her graciousness, her eloquence, her ability to change this into a moment to cultivate change and to do something positive, it just speaks to her character. The fact that Olandria has to have grace to this situation, has to even address this situation, like this, that this has to be a situation to weigh her down. The fact that this is something that happened, that it wasn't corrected, that she has to make a statement, it all just saddens me. While simultaneously, Alandria's ability, like I said, to not let this moment derail her, it amazes me. Like, it amazes me. I will be donating to the organizations that she said. I think that if you're even considering making a comment on my YouTube video and disagreeing with anything that's been said about why this was problematic, why this is racist, why there's no excusing the behavior, why that's exactly what Huda and Louis did. Instead, don't debate, donate. That's what you can do. Several season 7 cast members have spoke out regarding the situation, including Nick, who shared the links to the organizations that Alandria shared on her story on his Snapchat. He also followed that up with a post that said, the links that are posted are organizations that fight racial discrimination and injustice through court cases, lobbying, and public policy work. I continue to be amazed and proud with the woman that Alandria is. Accountability and awareness is needed. Yes, Huda also shared a statement to her Instagram stories. It says, I just want to take a moment to say that racism of any kind is completely unacceptable. No one should ever have to experience or hear hateful language directed at them ever. It's not something to be taken lightly or brushed off, and it's heartbreaking to see it happen to someone I care about. We all have a responsibility to call out racism when we see it and to create spaces that are safe, respectful, and inclusive for everyone. To my knowledge, Jeremiah is one of the other cast members who has stated that he has reached out to Alandria on his Snapchat. I am not following all of the cast members on Snapchat, but on Instagram, I think as of the time that I'm recording this at 6:04 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday, I almost choked, but I believe that this is the cast members who have spoken out about this incident. I think that the next people who should be putting out a statement is Peacock, the network, the production company. And I think that all of you should make donations. Like, I think Peacock should be making a very large donation for allowing this to happen, for not speaking out on it earlier. Like, why is it that we can address the cyberbullying, or why is it that we can address the comments that were horrible about Vanna's appearance, but we can't directly say that racism and that comments that are racist are a problem? that's the question that I'll leave with. Now, in the description of this episode, I'm going to be also linking the organizations that Olandria talked about in her stories. I'm also going to be linking the New Jersey Perinatal Equity and Health Initiative organization, which is for Black moms in New Jersey. I'm going to be linking all of those. Please support all. Please support one. And everybody have a good day.